This is a fan-generated show. If you would like to support us, please go to jamieglazov.com, and also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. All your support is greatly appreciated.
Good evening. Welcome to Glazov Gang Standoff. This evening, Tylon Wilson versus Will Johnson, round 2. This evening we will be discussing the Mueller investigation, or beginning a debate on the Mueller investigation. With us this evening, back by popular demand, Tylon Wilson, a police officer and registered Democrat, and Will Johnson, the founder of Unite America First. Gentlemen, welcome back to the Glazov Gang.
Thank you. Great to be here again.
Thank you. Thank you, Tylon and Will. So last week we had quite a debate between you two gentlemen on Black America and Trump, and whether Trump is good for America and for Black America. This evening we're going to narrow in a little bit and talk about the Mueller investigation. And we're going to start with Tylon. Tylon, what do you make of this investigation into the Russian collusion and et cetera, in terms of our president?
Well, just to start, I think that if there was nothing there, there would never been a special counsel needed. So for them to even get a special counsel involved in this Russian collusion, what the president likes to call a witch hunt, it shows that there was enough there for a special counsel to be needed to do the investigation.
Thank you, Tylon. Now look, we very much value and treasure your service to this country as a police officer. And let me follow up with you as a police officer in terms of, Tylon, look, an investigation begins if there is a crime. But do police officers just out of the blue go on fishing expeditions when there is no crime? So what I'm getting to here is what appears to be happening with Mueller is that it's a fishing expedition. And I thought that there's supposed to at least be a crime that's investigated. What do you make of that?
Well, I'm glad you said that, because when we go out on calls, we don't know if there's a crime or not until we do an investigation to determine if there's a crime that's been committed. Many times there is no crime that's been committed, and we tell them, have a nice day, you know, sorry for whatever you think happened, but this is not a crime, and we go on about our business.
Okay, but maybe that's not necessarily, now that it's good to crystallize this, because maybe that's not necessarily how the special counsel works. Before we go to Will, do you concede that no crime actually has been proven, or it's just all rumor and then a fishing expedition started by Mueller? Well,
anytime you have somebody plead guilty, I think he has 5 guilty pleas from his indictments. I think he has like 20 indictments, 5 guilty pleas. So I don't know. I'm not going to plead guilty for anything I didn't do. So 5 people have pled guilty from his indictments, which are from his investigation. So some crime has been committed for them to plead guilty or for them to be indicted.
Well, okay, just a sec. We're going to let Will go, but look, you can start investigating something, and then there happens to be some Johnny guy that crossed the light when it was red and it was supposed to be green, and it has nothing to do with the initial investigation, and you can catch lots of people in lies or supposed lies that have nothing to do with the initial investigation. But let's get back to that. But Will, what do you make of what Tylon's saying?
Okay. Thank you again for your service in the police department. I mean, like I said, you being there says a lot. It says you love this country, you love your neighborhood, you love your community. But let's just get right to it. The DNC, their server was hacked. And really, I don't even think it was hacked. I think it was Seth Rich that gave information from the DNC server and gave it over to WikiLeaks. So that resulted in WikiLeaks. They tried to say that WikiLeaks was working with Russia. Also, for anybody that is Russian or that work at the Russian consulate or wherever it may be, if they had dirt on Hillary Clinton, it is not against the law to obtain that dirt. If someone from another country decides to come to you and say, hey, I have this information that I want to hand off to you, there's no law against that. There's nothing wrong with it even. But once you get that information, it depends on what you do with that information. If you get that information that's damaging to the United States, that information should automatically be turned over to the FBI, the CIA, what have you. Now, with these indictments that have come down because people pleaded guilty, these indictments were from like 2012. Some of them were 2008. Long before Donald J. Trump even gave the idea that he was running for president. They are catching people on stuff that's way in the past, has nothing to do with Russia collusion. So this whole Russia collusion is a witch hunt. If they had any shred of evidence that Donald Trump worked with Russia to change votes, to hack the voting machines, then at that point, then we would have a big issue here. Right now, just because someone wants to give you information means nothing. And then they refer to Russia creating these memes, putting them on Twitter, Facebook, what have you. My question would be to anyone that saw these memes, did these memes cause you to vote for Donald Trump over Hillary Clinton? And if a meme swayed your vote from one way to another, maybe you shouldn't be voting if it was from a meme.
I totally agree. I totally agree with that. What you said. And Michael Flynn pled guilty to lying to the FBI regarding his involvement with Russian affiliates. So my question is, why lie? Why not say, yes, I talked to this Russian who gave me this information, who said this, but for him to have to lie about it says that there's something more than it's just being hey, I have some information for you.
Well, Tylon, 1 second. You know, it's interesting, that case, because it's very normal and standard procedure for incoming officials of a new administration to make contact with the representatives of other countries. And what Flynn actually did on those realms was actually nothing illegal happened there. And the FBI had done something very questionable there. And so there is a question as to what had happened there. But my understanding is that it was the FBI that was wrong and not Mueller. Am I correct, Will?
Yeah, we have to remember there is documentation where the FBI was trying to do everything they can to undermine the election themselves. So not only did Donald J. Trump have to fight these crooked people at the polls, not only did he have to fight against the MSNBCs and the CNNs, he had to fight against the FBI, the Democrats, and the Republicans. There's text messages from people within inside the FBI saying, yeah, he's not going to win. No, we're going to make sure we're going to put things in place to prevent him from winning. There again, we're back to the Russia collusion. What collusion was there? And colluding with Russia is not against the law. Now, if Flynn lied about some engagements that he had over in Russia with RTV and they paid him X amount of dollars, that information, he may have even forgot that information, but that information should be laid out. And see, the FBI is very good on catching you in something that they already know the information on. That's why they want to get Trump to talk to the Mueller team, because they want to get Trump to talk about something that has nothing to do with the Russia collusion, and then they'll catch him in that. It's the same thing they did, same thing that happened to Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton, the word is, he started talking about the word is, had nothing to do with what's going on.
1 second, Will. 1 second, let me interrupt because you make a very important point. The FBI actually knew the answers to the questions that they were asking Flynn. And if he had just told the truth, technically he hadn't done anything wrong, but it means that there was a form of entrapment happening there, correct?
Exactly. And that's exactly how they want to do the president right now. You know, if Donald J. Trump did something wrong, what would that be? Because it's not against the law to collude. Now, if he changed votes, that's a completely different story. Did he work with Russia to hack the machines? That's a completely different story. No one on the right or the left is saying that Russia did anything to the voting machines. Their main concern is that they said they influenced people to vote for Trump. Who cares? If people are easily manipulated like that, maybe they shouldn't vote.
But lots of countries involve themselves in lots of countries' elections.
Well, even when Obama was in office, Obama put taxpayer dollars into Israel to try to overturn the election in Israel with American tax dollars. But you didn't hear anybody from the FBI, you didn't hear anybody from the liberal media complaining that that Obama did that. Okay. See, now it's double standards here. When he didn't even, there's no proof that he even colluded. He didn't spend any money on anything. Everything that has come out has proven that he hasn't done anything. They're going after Roger Stone, who obviously said that he was going to set up a meeting with the Russian, and come to find out there was nothing there. And he said, no, we're not going to even meet. So right. Even then, even though he was going to talk to even though he had a conversation with Russia, there's no laws that were broken. No votes were changed.
Okay, Tylon, go ahead.
Yeah, once again, I agree with what he said. I think that the concept was that the Russians have this propaganda machine that is, I guess, very influential in making people vote for a certain candidate or whatnot. And like Will said, if you are that easily influenced to vote for somebody from a meme or from continuously getting information fed to you by a certain party and whatnot, and you're not voting for the issues that matter to you, you probably shouldn't be voting. But that's probably what happened. And I've said it before, I don't believe any Russians voted in our elections. So Trump's campaign, they did what they had to do. They won the Electoral College and won the election. Even if it was influenced by Russian propaganda for his behalf, that's what happened. And if that's the case, then I don't think that is anything wrong with that. But when you have his campaign staff lying about their involvement with Russia, lying about connections that they had in the Trump Tower meetings, if you have to lie about these type of things, then what else are you lying about? And the Mueller is a Republican, Comey is a Republican, I think McCabe is a Republican. So it's not like it's a bunch of Democrats that are trying to get Donald Trump indicted or in trouble. This is people in his own party.
But so, that was my point. You know, you just label Comey, Mueller, McCain, the Republicans. They're actually rhinos. So this is the first president that I know in my lifetime that's run for office and have to fight his own party along with the opposition and along with the mainstream media. This is the only president I know that had to fight all of them. So just because you have these people that call themselves Republicans, I mean, they're straight up rhinos. They're Republicans in name only. Mm-hmm. And even though these people lied about whatever, that still has nothing to do with Trump. It has nothing to do with Trump. Because you can't control what everyone does. I mean, the man is not God. He can't control. He doesn't have strings on these people telling them what to say, where to go, and what to do, for the most part.
Okay, so you have his campaign manager lying about ties to Russia. That's his campaign manager. So if his campaign manager is colluding with Russia, you're telling me that the president didn't know anything about it?
How do we know he knew about it?
We don't until after the investigation. That's
what I'm saying. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on that they don't even tell him unless it's very important, because you can only imagine he's getting bombarded with information left and right. But even with his son was talking to the person, I think it was a Russian lawyer, mm-hmm. about children. They were talking about how they can help Russian children come to the United States. So we can either believe it or not. Even if that's not true, yeah. It still doesn't mean that he changed any votes. him colluding with Russia. And it's nothing. It's not against the law to collude.
Gentlemen, just a second. Just a sec. I want to figure this out. Hypothetically, if there was some kind of collusion where votes were actually changed, I've been a little bit confused. How exactly, hypothetically, did this happen? Like, did the Russians put chips into people's brains and they went and voted for Trump, or was there some kind of a machine? Tylon, how did it theoretically happen that you think should warrant an investigation?
I'm on the side of the fence that's closer to Will with that, where I don't think just because it was a lot of Trump fed into this election, allegedly through Russia. I just don't think that should have been enough for him to win this election.
Okay, just a second. So Tylon, 1 second, because much evidence has now come out that there was some Igor or Ivan or Dmitry, and they were on Facebook or social media and kind of causing chaos on both sides, right? And I'm Russian, so maybe I'm allowed to make fun of some Russian names. But Tylon, so there was some evidence that the Russians were causing some trouble on both sides on social media. That's another matter. But Tylon, do you concede that somewhere there's an anger in terms of establishment Republicans, the Democrats, some could argue the deep state, some globalist powers? There are some forces out there that are livid. They're seething that Trump won. And really, this is a political witch hunt. Do you think that there's any truth to that?
You know what? I don't think that it's a political witch hunt. I think that there has been, if there was nothing to this, it would have been over a long time ago. But the propaganda that they're saying about the guys that have been on Facebook and social media that have been, causing chaos, I think it was probably true. And that is a tactic that is used in Russia for their elections, to manipulate the elections that they used here. And this wasn't the first time that Russians have tried to manipulate an election in this country. So I think they've just gotten better and better at doing it over the years. So with the investigation being a witch hunt, we won't know until after the investigation.
But Tylon, how long, if there's something there, it's been a year and a half or whatnot now. When is this going to end? They haven't found anything.
How long was the Benghazi investigation?
Do you think that that was actually a serious investigation?
It should have been.
Okay, Will?
Well, the Benghazi investigation, we had 4 dead Americans.
Mm-hmm.
So we know something went awry there.
Right.
Without question, we all know something went awry there. Here, in this case, they're concerned saying that Russia was meddling in our election.
Right.
We, as American people, we meddle in other countries' election all the time. So the only reason why it's an issue right now is because Hillary Clinton lost. The Democrats don't understand how is it that they put out all the propaganda that they put out and the American people didn't fall for it. Even the polls, they were saying there's no way that Trump could win. No way that Trump could win. Trump is like at 13%. Hillary Clinton is at like 68%. There's no way. There's no way. Knowing good and well, the polls that they were putting out were false. They were fake. They came out of fake news networks. And also, in the year 2017, the DOJ spent over $9 billion in just operating costs doing investigations altogether. Mueller has already spent over $7 billion. For what? If there was any shreds of information that Donald J. Trump himself or his campaign did anything to change the result of the election, they would have presented it 6 months or a year ago. They wanted him out of the office already. So right now what's happening is that they got this big mountain of bananas and they say they have to keep looking until they find something.
Thank you, Will. And Tylon Wilson, last word goes to you on the Mueller investigation.
Okay, I think the Benghazi investigation was I think maybe 3 years. I'm not sure on that. 3 years. We've only been a year and a half in this Mueller investigation, where there's a paper trails. Has to be a level of investigation that has to be very meticulous. That we don't know the amounts of information that is getting fed to the investigation, and that they keep finding out. So it's only been a year and a half for this investigation. It's still another year and a half to go before they even reach the time that Benghazi had. So I think we're really trying to speed this up for reasons that I don't know. I'd rather them take their time and get completely done with the investigation so there's no more questions asked and move on.
Okay, I think all of our views are well established on this issue. Will Johnson and Tylon Wilson, thank you for joining Glazov Gang Standoff this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching the Glazov Gang this evening. Please remember, we're a fan-generated program. If you like what we do and want to support us, please go to jamieglazov.com and please subscribe to the YouTube channel of the Glazov Gang. We'll see you soon. Good night.